Thank all of you so much for this special honor, particularly when I view those already in the Hall of Fame and the inductees here tonight. They are really the foundation of cable, these pioneers. And thanks to the Cable Center for this great event. I've been indeed fortunate that the Lord put me in the right place at the right time with the right people, the outstanding right people. The right place was Scientific Atlanta in the cable industry. I had the opportunity at critical times for cable to work with dedicated and innovative people to meet technical and business challenges to grow the industry. My first right time was when Jack Kelly and Sid Tobel hired me almost 34 years ago to be VP of R&D at SA. The satellite cable connection had just begun, and that's when you put satellite earth stations in cable head ends to get content like HBO that wasn't available off air. Sid led the charge for earth stations, I think, at every cable head end. We also built the uplink for Ted Turner's first superstation, and then all the satellite links for CNN. Then came advanced analog set-tops, and that brought me to the right time again in cable. We introduced program guides, menus, many other features. And at SA, I was really fortunate to have two very innovative guys to make it happen. Michael Hardy in engineering and Mike Hayashi in marketing. HFC then replaced Tree and Branch with the associated reliable reverse path. And I think Jim Chittix and Dave Fellows were really sort of the key evangelists in that. But I had a close friend and colleague, Graham Mogley at SA, that led the team for me that invented our reliable reverse path and sort of helped me explain it to the industry. And then Dwight Duke grew that into SA's big transmission business based on HFC. But I believe the most critical time so far of challenge and opportunity for cable was the move from analog to digital. Satellite had just come in with digital direct-to-the-home TV, and it forced us to have a very aggressive schedule. We had to invent a completely new two-way digital packet system with new communication protocols, applications, digital set-tops. I formed what you heard in the TV called the Swamp, and later hired Bob McIntyre to run it. And at SA, we funded the Swamp in our digital subscriber business for 6 years, from 92 to 98, before we got the first bit of sales. So fortunately, Jim McDonald, our chairman, shared the digital vision with me and helped convince the board to continue funding. However, Jim told me, you got me into this, so you better run this subscriber business and make it grow and profitable. The next big challenge and opportunity to get us to IPTV. And I think most of you know it'd be impossible to have survive in the cable industry, much less any accomplishments, without the strong support of your family. I'm so glad my wife Sandra and my partner for over 50 years, and my children Steve, Holly, and Mike could be here with me tonight to share this special honor. So thank you all so very much.
International programming powerhouse. It's hard to imagine there was a time when programmers didn't know where their product was being carried. But that's the way it was. When TBS first went onto the satellite, they ran a lot of per inquiry ads for dicer, slicers, slicer dicers, and that kind of thing. This was way back before the ShamWow was invented. Terry says they'd wait for the mail every day and check the postmarks on the infomercial orders coming in. That's how they found out which cable systems were carrying TBS. The rest is media history. Terry helped launch CNN, which completely changed the face of TV news, Turner Classic Movies, TNT, the Cartoon Network, among others. He was the second in command until he succeeded Ted Turner as chairman, president, and CEO of Turner Broadcasting. In 2001, Terry became CEO of the Turner sports teams. Now he's the top dog at the Atlanta Braves and still knocking it out of the park. Here's more about one of the cable industry's most valuable players.
You know, Terry was always the guy that made it happen for Ted.
He sort of has that all shucks kind of fools you with how easy, nice, simple he appears. but underneath, he has some of the greatest business instincts of anybody I've ever met.
I started with TBS between my junior and senior year in college. My goal was to become a history teacher, so I figured I'd do this as a stopping off point on my way to figuring that out. And 35 years later, I left Turner Broadcasting.
We were both there kind of before there was cable, it was community antenna television, and as it evolved into original programming, Terry was there on the ground floor.
I think that the explosion of channel capacity in the industry created this opportunity.
Satellite just changed the face of cable television. The advent of TBS on the satellite was like a shot in the arm for the cable industry. It took off. We did too.
I know Terry always had a very strong sports interests. He was pretty instrumental in what they were doing in baseball. Those sports teams were critical to the distribution of initially the TBS Superstation.
Terry and Ted Turner could not be more opposite.
Ted was a genius. I was not a genius. But I learned how his genius worked.
A lot of Ted's success, I think, was really attributable to Terry's ability to execute.
He's just the perfect executive in that regard. He leads, but he does it with quiet dignity and great insights.
And the reason it's been such a huge pleasure to be in the industry over these many years is the camaraderie that we were all sort of in the boat together, rowing and bailing.
And we've just journeyed through life together, from young kids starting out in the business together to the great fun that has been cable TV.
From the early days of 1973, broken down UHF television station in Atlanta, Georgia, and to turn that into the kind of programming powerhouse that exists today, and to have been there through all that growth is very satisfying.
Let's hear it for Terry McGurk.
Tonight I want to thank the board and executives of the Cable Center and for this wonderful honor tonight. To be in the permanent company of the cable industry's greatest leaders is really a dream come true for me. And I want to give a special thanks to my great friends John Malone and Brian Roberts for their kind words of introduction. They are arguably two of the greatest leaders in our industry over the last 30 years. My challenge tonight is to put 35 years of gratitude into a minute or two. First, I'm thankful to have worked with Ted Turner, who led a revolution in our industry and allowed me to have a ringside seat. I'm thankful to have been surrounded by the best and the brightest stars at Turner and later at Time Warner, including my pal Phil Kent, who's here tonight. Of those 35 years that I worked in cable, I spent almost 30 of them working directly with Ted, who, as we all know, was a genius and was not afraid to take an unconventional path to success. But let's talk. Can you imagine working 30 years with Ted Turner? You couldn't write a believable script that would describe that wild ride. Between you and me, I am happy to have made it through and still have all my parts intact. But finally, I'm most thankful for the close personal relationships with the countless people across this cable industry, but most importantly with the members of the Hall of Fame, many of whom I count as my best personal friends. So it feels very good indeed to be back here tonight in the home of the cable industry I love. There are certainly more people to thank than I have time for, but I could not end up my time up here without thanking my wife, Nancy, for making it look easy, raising 4 children and keeping our lives balanced during the countless nights that I spent away during my 30 years in cable doing the work that has brought me here tonight. And thanks to all of you for being here to commemorate this very meaningful event in all of our lives. We thank you very much. Thanks.
People, maybe that explains his memorable stage debut as chairman of the 1999 cable show in Chicago. People are still talking about it. Mark appeared in a cloud of smoke dressed as a blues brother and danced his way to the lectern to open the proceedings. The guy clearly knows how to make an entrance. He was like that from the start. After managing Harris Scope's Able Cable system in Malibu when he was still in his 20s, Mark made a splash as VP of Programming and Marketing for Teleprompter, the country's biggest cable company. When that got old, a couple years later, he started his own operation. Falcon Cable grew into a major MSO, thriving until Mark sold the company to Paul Allen in 1999 and launched Charter Communications into the big leagues. In 1995, President Clinton appointed Mark to the Broadcast Board of Governors, where he served as chairman from 1998 to 2002. Today, he's heavily involved in a number of nonprofits, and he chairs Mapleton Investments, which he founded in 1999. Let's take a look at a cable dynamo.
He was one of the pioneers, along with others in this industry, who really took risks at a time when the industry was unproven.
He was one of the early operators, and he stuck with it, and he built his own company. Not everyone in the cable industry built their own companies.
I thought the cable operators were people who were bringing more entertainment, more information, more choice, and I thought that was a noble task. In our family, growing up in Chicago, around the dining room table, we discussed the media business. My grandfather was a motion picture distributor. My father was in advertising. I can remember as a young boy reading Ad Age at 12 years old and Broadcasting Magazine. So I was always very interested in the business, and I had summer jobs in the cable television industry, selling cable door to door in Wisconsin and Minnesota. I learned right then, working in the summers, that the public had an unlimited appetite for more information, entertainment, sports. It was clear to me that cable TV was going to emerge as a major force in the whole entertainment spectrum in the United States.
I think the fact that he grew up in the business really made a difference. He worked his way up from the bottom.
There was a lot to learn by doing, and it was a lot of ability if you had good instincts. And Mark had very good instincts.
Falcon Cable TV was founded in May of 1975. I'd left Teleprompter in April, came to the West Coast and started a cable company. Falcon grew from a small company to one with over 1 million subscribers.
He was an entrepreneur from the bottom of his toes to the top of his head.
We're going to talk about. I always felt politics is part of our life. It affects all of us. It was important that the company would give back to the community, so it was natural to expand into community service.
Mark's a real people person and genuinely cares about the people he interacts with.
I would say the number one satisfaction for me in the cable industry was the people I met and that I work with in the cable business.
Very, very interesting time with some very, very interesting people, and Mark was right there. He was right there.
It's a great attribute that Mark and many of the others in the Cable Hall of Fame possessed. They had a vision, and they had a willingness to pursue the vision and take risks at a time when many others did not.
The cable industry for me, for the 40-some years that I've been in the business, has been something that I lived and breathed every day of my life. It's a great honor that my friends, colleagues have recognized me to join the Cable Hall of Fame. master's thesis on the regulation of the cable television industry. Shortly thereafter, I went to work for Periscope Broadcasting, which owned 3 cable systems: Palm Springs, California, Flagstaff, Arizona, and Kern County, California. From that date forward, whether at Periscope, Cypress, Warner Cable, Teleprompter, Falcon, or Charter, my love affair with cable has only been second to my love for my wife, Jane, and our family. In 1969, cable served 5% of the U.S. homes. I don't need to tell this audience about the growth of our industry over the next 40 years. I was honored to be a small part of it. I also was honored that my friends Alan Gary and Neil Schmidt took the time to speak on my video. Both of them represent the finest our industry has to offer. And I wouldn't be here if it weren't for men and women like Neil and Alan, especially my colleagues at Falcon. And I want to particularly thank Frank Antizo, who I worked with for over 20 years, who is president of the company, Mike Maneri and Lynn Buning, and so many other men and women at Falcon. My friends and heroes of the cable industry are all here. There are too many to name and mention, but I have to say just about a few people who helped me along the road. Bob Myron, Ralph Roberts, Julian Brodsky, John Malone and Leo Henry, Jerry Laybourne, Paul Maxwell, Mike Wilner, Chuck Dolan, Glenn Jones, Amos Hofstetter, Phil Lynn, Lenny Bax, and of course, my friends from Hickory, North Carolina, where we ate at the Blue Plate Diner, Matt Blank and Frank Drendel. None of us in the cable industry or at the Cable Center could survive or prosper without mentors. My mentors are no longer with us, but they will always be in my heart and mind. They were my late father, Don Nathanson, Bert Harris, and of course, Bill Bresnan, who we honored tonight. Let me tell you just one brief story about Bill. I moved to New York in 1973 to become the Vice President of Marketing and Programming of Teleprompter, then the largest cable company in the country. Bill was the president. He said to me, his new marketing guy, let's go visit a cable system. Let's go unannounced. I want to teach you a little bit about the cable business, even though you've been in it a few years. I want you to understand my style. So we got on the train, unannounced, and went to Mount Vernon, New York. We walked into the cable system about 10 o'clock in the morning. We asked for the manager. He wasn't there. We later found out he was playing golf. The chief engineer showed up in a tie and jacket. Bill wasn't too happy. The chief engineer then offered to drive us to show us the plan, and Bill said, well, before we go, Mark and I have to go to the bathroom. I said, Bill, I don't have to go to the bathroom. He said, yes, you do. So I followed Bill into the bathroom. He says, this is your first lesson about operations. If the bathroom is clean, so is the plant. Well, Bill taught me many valuable lessons, as did all my mentors. Finally, I wouldn't be here tonight without the support of my family. They're all here tonight. My wife and life partner, Jane, who I met in freshman speech class at the University of Denver 48 years ago. My daughter, Nicole, my son, Adam, and his wife, Lauren, my son, David, and his wife, Sabina, a Cartoon Network veteran, my brother, Greg, and his wife, Teresa, and a special thanks to my cousin, Jeffrey Nathanson, for being here. Jeffrey was a very early and great pay TV pioneer when he started Optical Systems. I can't help but say how proud Jane and I are of our sons, Adam and David, who have continued the family tradition as the fourth generation of Nathansons to be in the media business. Adam in the radio business, and David at Fox Soccer. Thank you to the board of the Cable Center. I am delighted and humbled to be here and to be among those august honorees. Long live the cable TV industry.
dirty bathrooms explain the oil spill. Anyway, congratulations, Mark. Thanks. Career experts tell you the only way to move up is to move out. Keep changing companies if you want to get ahead. Well, Abby Raven is definitely an exception to that rule. She's always followed a different path. Our 5th Cable Hall of Fame inductee tonight started out in off-Broadway theater as the youngest equity stage manager in New York. Then it was into the classroom as a high school English and drama teacher. After a few years at the head of the class, Abby got interested in cable. But she had to start over again at the bottom, running copies of scripts and answering the phone in Daytime, a startup cable network for women. Within a couple of weeks, Abby was no longer an assistant and secured a production job. Daytime and Art split into Lifetime and A&E respectively, and since then it's been a series of triumphs. Abby helped cultivate biography. She was on the original team that created the History Channel, and she rejuvenated A&E, making it a top 5 network once again. Now as president and CEO of AETN, A&T Television Networks, a position she's held since 2005, Abby has led the company during its biggest venture yet, a merger with Lifetime Networks. Abby now oversees 3 of the leading brands in cable, A&E, History, and Lifetime, with a portfolio that includes 10 networks, reaching every key demographic of more than 250 million households around the globe. Abby's recognized as one of the most powerful women in the media. Quite a trip from off-Broadway. Here's a closer look at one of cable's greatest storytellers.
Figured out how to bring high-quality product to the air time and time again.
She's had a permanent impact on the direction of this industry.
From an early age, I knew I wanted to be in the entertainment business. But if you had asked me back then, when I went in to start Xeroxing scripts for Daytime, that I would be in the position I am today, I would have thought you were crazy.
One of the great challenges for any network that was around back then, they really had to figure out how to survive in a world that was going to become dramatically different. Abby was right smack in the middle of that transition.
In those early days of cable, nobody really knew what cable was all about. There was really an opportunity to learn all facets of the business because companies were so small and entrepreneurial. And you really got a chance to show your stuff.
She has this ability to use both sides of her brain. She's a very logical business person on one side and a very creative talent on the other. And you just don't find many people in the business like that.
When A&E first launched, we had so many empty channels, we didn't know what to do with them all.
We created the A&E network. We then created the History Channel, the Biography Channel, the Climate Investigation Network, other networks that developed out of the programming that we saw resonated with our audiences.
The storytelling that comes from A&E today is really among the best on television.
I think you can pick any network they have. They're very good at telling a story. Look at the quality of the product that's put on the air every day, and look at the exceptional leadership that's inside that company. She's gifted at finding talent, developing that talent, and letting them fly.
She's a great family life, and she's very happy and proud of her family.
What she has at home, what she has in her professional life, fit together.
Despite the title, despite the notoriety of the position and the fame that comes along with it, Abby is still Abby. She always has been, and she always will be. She has created an institution within this industry that will live on long past we're all retired and doing other things.
Thank you. I just have to say thank you to two very special people, Pat Esser and Michael Wilner, for those very, very kind words. Both are very special people and have been great friends to me and supporters over the years. And to all my colleagues on the NCTA board and throughout the industry, so many of us have grown up in this business together, and I thank you so much for being here tonight. To Larry and the Cable Center, I am very grateful and I am so honored, especially on a night in which you remember Bill Bresnan, a man I was so very lucky to know. I am very proud to share the stage tonight with all of the honorees. This is really a tremendous honor for me. So, 28 years ago, with a dream of breaking into the cable business, I saw an ad in the New York Times for a promotional event for the launch of a new cable service called Daytime. And I went to the event at, of all places, and this is a true story, the lingerie department of Macy's. And the ad read, "Come meet the programming executives," and so I did. And I went with my resume in hand and a willingness to do anything. And who knew that there among bras and panties, I might be given a chance to copy scripts and later answer phones. And what a ride it has been. Good fortune truly allowed me to grow along with the company, and along with my AETN colleagues, I have had the privilege to build some of the best brands on the media landscape. In 1984, as we said in the tape, we started out with one network. And today, thanks to all of you, to our distributors, we have 10. A&E, History, Lifetime, Bio, Lifetime Movie Network. We're in over 140 countries. We have 3 of the top 10 brands in media under one portfolio, and we produce some of the best programming on TV. So when I started out as a few dollars an hour assistant 28 years ago, I never would have imagined that I would be standing here tonight. My goal back then was really very simple. I wanted to do something I loved, and I found my passion in television. It is such a powerful medium, and I love that we get to tell stories that touch people's lives and that can make a difference. At AETN, we are so proud of the powerful emotional stories that we tell, and every day I feel lucky to go to work with some of the smartest and most creative team of executives in television. Executives who are now my friends as well, like Nancy Dubuque, Bob DiBitetto, David Sagan, Mel Burning, Gerard Grusso, Steve Ronson, Michael Feeney, and my entire management team. I'd like to thank my board, including Scott Sassa, Ann Sweeney, Jeff Gaspin, for their support and vision in helping us guide AETN into the future. And a special shout out to my mentor, Nick Devatsis. Nick, your leadership of AETN for the first 20 plus years left a long legacy of integrity and honor for me to follow. You gave me so many opportunities, and I thank you for your friendship and your support. Above all, I share that my life would not be what it is today without my incredible family. They've been with me on this journey, and I could not have done it without their love and encouragement. I've been blessed with a loving and amazing husband, Marty, without whom I would not be standing here today, and blessed with a terrific son, David, who I now get to watch begin his own journey. And David, thank you for flying in here and being here tonight and always being such a great supporter. I am so grateful, I truly am, for all that I have experienced in this industry. The people I have met, the inspirational stories that they have shared, and the friendships that I have made, all have helped me to get here today. This industry was built on collaboration, and so I must accept this truly on behalf of all of those who have contributed to the success of AETN. I am extremely touched and very, very, very honored. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Abby, and congratulations. What an amazing career. Our final 2010 inductee is living proof that necessity is the mother of invention, and cable. In Alberta, Canada, J.R. Shaw is cable's father. J.R. grew up in Ontario near the U.S. border, where he had easy off-air access to a full slate of American TV networks. When he relocated to Edmonton, TV pickings were slim, so he started Capital Cable in 1966. He figured he wasn't the only one who wanted access to the U.S. networks. His first job in cable was building a company and an industry. The Canadian authorities didn't make it easy for him either. It took 4 years just to get a cable license. Today, Shaw Communications is one of the giants of Canadian telecom, delivering a full range of TV, internet, phone, and satellite services to 3.4 million customers. J.R. has always been deeply involved in his community through Shaw Communications and the Shaw Foundation. The philanthropy founded by his father, J.R. and his colleagues have contributed millions of dollars and countless hours to support Canadian children, education, and community development. Let's learn more about a cable legend.
Anything that he touches seems to be successful.
You knew from day one that he was going to succeed at building this business, and in fact he has. He's become Mr. Cable in Canada.
This industry here, I pinch myself all the time. How did I ever get into cable television? I just was at the right place at the right time.
It wasn't satisfying to have the company that his dad started. He had that kind of initiative that he wanted his mark.
And as we expanded the family business, my wife and the 3 kids moved to Edmonton. I had none of the American networks or PBS. I wanted more choice, and I thought the people of Edmonton wanted more choice.
He saw a tremendous opportunity. From the time he got the first cable license, it wasn't even for half the city of Edmonton.
They divided the city in half, and we got half of the city. And from there on, it's history. Humble beginning, but a start.
Early on, you saw that he was having an impact only because of his entrepreneurial drive and motivation to create something bigger and something that would outlast him.
He's always on the cutting edge, trying to find something else that he might do.
When I saw cable start from a one way, few channels, now to see it in hundreds of channels, 2-way, phone business, internet business, I'm amazed.
And he's had a huge impact, I think, on the community, because a lot of the things that he's been involved with have motivated others to also step to the plate.
There is one of the reasons why he is so successful. He is so personal and pays forward to many things that's been given to him, and he pays that forward to others.
My philosophy in life is that you hire people smarter than you, that will make you look good, and you share information. And the more information you share, the more power you'll have.
He relates to people in such personal ways. That's the real JR. He makes people feel special.
I think there's a tendency on the part of business to always measure entrepreneurs based on their net worth or the toys they have around them. Whereas I think in his case, his worth will be measured by what he's meant and been in the lives of other people.
I'm just so pleased that, someplace along the way, we got into the business, we got into and got the franchises. But it's all people that you have working for you that make the company grow.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you. Thank you to the cable industry for this remarkable honor. And congratulations to the other inductees. And the past list of is who's who. All respected and admired leaders that built this great cable industry. In the mid-50s, I was first exposed to cable TV. In London, Ontario, a 5-channel system bringing in non-Canadian signals from Detroit and Cleveland, bringing choice and quality beyond CBC. We passed on that involvement. We didn't see it at the time of being in business, and so our father, which was a hard-driving individual, kept our nose to the grindstone on the family pipe coating business operation. Its expansion took Carol and I, +3, to Western Canada and Edmonton, more particular, where Brad was born. Our choice of TV was CBC, English and French, and CTV was just starting up in Edmonton, Alberta. No distant U.S. signals. It was too far from the border. I worked hard for 5 years to build the pipe coating business. My brother and I wanted to diversify our business interests because we thought that the pipe coating would not last into the future and wanted to go into another business. So what do? I volunteered to start cable TV in Edmonton and bring more choice to the viewers. It was on December of 1966 that I started in earnest, and started 4 years of frustration. The Canadian broadcasters at the time influenced the regulator to keep the distant non-Canadian networks at bay. In other words, no microwave extension. Then in 1970, or 4 years later, the regulator finally says you can have 1 + 1. That meant we could bring in 1 U.S. network and PBS, and then carry the other OTAs and do community programming channel. All our friends in the cable industry, those in Toronto and Vancouver, who had all the networks, said it wasn't enough. Our answer, and our biggest decision, and we didn't have the baseball field in Iowa, you build it and they will come. We did not have that experience. And so we said, if we get a license, more will come. And it has, and you've heard it many times tonight, just the growth of this industry. Today, our employees at Shaw make it happen, day in and day out. All 10,600 of them. Always hire the best. Treat them as you want to be treated. All with a customer focus, positive, can-do attitude, and team players. To develop a relationship with our customers who never ask us how we receive the signal. They just want choice, quality, and reliability. Our biggest opportunity that the cable industry has is to have that relationship with our customers and to set, and we have the opportunity to set our industry apart from our competition if we have the best customer service that we can have, and that's our goal of our company. Build that relationship of trust. For an example, our company, Internet to Basic, is greater than 77% and growing. Calgary, a city of 1.1 million people, we have 87% Internet to Basic penetration. Our Shaw digital telephone is greater than 46% to Basic after 5 years of a startup. So we need to work hard to keep our customers satisfied. We have started the process of building out an advanced wireless network, and that we plan to launch our first market in late 2011 to meet the growing demands of our customers for wireless and broadband services. This past week, Shaw bought the #2 OTA network, broadcasting network in Canada, called Global, along with 21 specialty cable services. And yes, we do want to be a part of the ownership and content and delivering it by whatever means we can to our customers. And I want to thank my wife, Carol, who I met in high school, and I think that's a little longer than anybody else, in grade 10 to be exact, and than anyone else that's been up here tonight. And I wanted to set the record straight and be one of the longest ones there. And because of her support, we have 4 children, and their contribution in the company has been phenomenal, and they have been there all the time to make this company what it is today. And our extended family of employees, and many of them are here tonight, sitting around the room and these two tables here, is the ones that do the heavy lifting while I get the honors. And I joined Ted Rogers, the 2002 inductee of this Hall of Fame, as the second Canadian, and I'm really proud to be accepted as into this Hall of Fame in the United States as a cable operator from Canada, and particularly from Western Canada. I'd like to say one quote here before I go, and watch your thoughts, they become your words. Watch your words, they become your actions. Watch your actions, they become your habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. Watch your character, it becomes your destiny and who you are. At the end of the day, my hope is to see cable standing tall and strong. Thank you.
Thank you, JR, and congratulations. What an amazing group of people tonight with that kind of inspiration. No wonder the cable industry has been such a great success. Well, this concludes my portion of the festivities. Thanks to the Cable Center, the Honorary Committee, the Selection Committee, and all of you for inviting me to help celebrate with you. It has been an honor. It's also been a lot of fun. Now we're going to turn the proceedings back to Michael Wilner and Larry Sedkowick. And would the Cable Hall of Fame class of 2010 please join them on stage for a final toast. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris, and thanks to NCTA and all of you for making the Cable Hall of Fame a part of your cable show week. Michael, will you do the honors, please?
With pleasure. No, we're glassless.
No glasses.
We'll let you guys do the toast. Once again, the 2010 Cable Hall of Fame. Raise your glasses and join us in a toast to the distinguished members of the Cable Hall of Fame class of 2010. Thank you all. On behalf of everybody here in the room, thank you all for your service, your leadership, and your example. We salute you for making the cable industry such a pleasure, such a great American institution. Here's to you. Thank you very much. Have a great night and a great show.
It's a great honor. It really is. I feel like I turned this.
Very good. Well, you received an award in front of an esteemed audience. What are you doing next?
We're going to Disney World. We're going to the bar. I thought Disney World, but the bar may suffice for a short time.
Very nice. Thank you.